This is the TB-03 from Roland. It is a re-edition of their famous synth TB-03 from 1982. It has a very iconic sound, typically the type of sound we call acid, that made acid house and acid techno. Originally, the TB-03 was not supposed to be used in this way. It was supposed to emulate an actual bass player, so you could rehearse your instrument with it. And that was probably never used in this way. That was bad, and it was a total failure. But some guys in Chicago and Detroit loved it, and in 1987, after the release of Acid Track by Future, the acid genre was born. The release of the TB-03 was named one of the 50 key events in the history of dance music by the magazine The Guardian. And instead of reading the Wikipedia page, we'll see how it works. The TB-03, not the 303. The recent one, because... So the bottom section here is the sequencer section that allows you to play notes, patterns, and transpose them, etc. The middle section here is the part to kind of manage your projects. And the top section, including this switch, is here to control the tone of the instrument. So now the first thing I'd like to do is to hear it and play with it. So we'll turn it on, and once it's on, you just have to play the run stop button to play the pattern that is loaded. So to change the tone of the sound, we'll use the top section here. The first knob is to tune the instrument down or up. The cutoff and the resonance control a low-pass filter. The resonance is very resonating, and that's what gives it its particular sound. The envelope mode is here to set how much the envelope will control the cutoff of the filter, so it will open and close while the note is playing, so you will hear the filter close with every note. And the time it takes for the filter to close with every note is set with the decay time. The decay time also sets the length of the notes themselves. And the accent knob sets the volume of the accented notes, because there are two types of notes, accented and not accented. And with this switch here, you can select between a sawtooth waveform and a square waveform, which changes the bass sound of the synth. From there, to change the sound, you also have an effect section. With this one, you have an overdrive effect, with this knob that controls the drive, and a delay effect, with a time knob and a feedback knob. And from there, you can change the effect that you want to use. You'll always have one overdrive and one delay, but you can choose from 3 of each. So to do that, that is in the system settings. To access it, you press the function button and turn the volume knob to scroll through the available settings. To change the overdrive effect, you want to scroll to OD and then release everything, so you can choose between 3 types. According to the manual, the first one is an overdrive sound from the Boss OD2. The second one is a generic traditional distortion. And the third one is both a smooth overdrive and a deep distortion. To change the delay effect, you want to look for the D-type setting, and here you can choose between a tape delay, a digital delay, and a reverb. So that's the tape delay. Here is the digital delay. and here is the reverb that we heard earlier. And with the setting desync, you can set if the delay is synced to the tempo or not. Alright, so if you want to hear the rest of the 96 patterns it can contain, you can load them in 4 steps. First, you turn this knob to pattern play. Second, with this knob, you can select the pattern group in which you want to search. See, there are 4 groups, 1 and 2 are group 1, 3 and 4 are group 2, 5 and 6 are group 3, and 7 is group 4. In each group, you have 3 sections, A, B, and C. A is this knob, B is this knob, and C is both at the same time. And in each section, you have 8 patterns, which are on those white notes there, from 1 to 8. So, group 1, section A, 3rd pattern. Group 1, section B, 3rd pattern. Group 1, section C, 3rd pattern. It's empty. So 4 groups times 3 sections times 8 patterns in each, that's 96 patterns in total. One thing that you should know is that you can actually change patterns by pressing several buttons simultaneously here. This is a good thing if you want a longer sequence because each pattern is only 16 steps long. So in group 1, section A, if I want to chain 1 and 2, and if you want to make any of those patterns shorter momentarily, you can hold this button that is in the time section and turn this value knob, so it will reduce the number of steps and will continue to do so as long as you hold this button. And as we are talking about patterns, also know that you can transpose them on the fly by holding this pitch button and pressing one note button. And you can also have some swing if you hold this tempo button and turn the value knob. Okay, so now you know everything to play the instruments, but if we want to make it our own, we'll have to write our own patterns, and there are actually 2 ways to do that. So select a pattern on which you want to write and turn this mode knob to pattern write. If you want to clear a pattern to start fresh, you can hold the button on which the pattern was stored and click pattern clear. This will erase the pattern if there is one. To choose your writing mode, you hold the function button and turn the value knob to go to the mode setting. And here you can choose from original or step mode. Let's start with original. The original mode is the same that was used on the original TB-03. You can change the length of your pattern by holding the function button and tapping the step button as many times as you want steps in your pattern. Or you can use a triplet grid if you hold function and press this triplet button. Now, in the original mode, you'll enter the pitch of the notes and their timing separately. First, we'll enter the pitch of the note without caring too much how long each note lasts. To do that, you press the pitch mode button to activate it and play the notes one by one with the keyboard. And you can record notes on higher and lower octaves with these transpose up and down buttons. When you are in pitch mode, you can also add accents and slides. Use the value knob to select the note and then do tab button plus accent to make it accented, or do tab button plus slide to add a slide at the end of the note, linking it to the next note. And then to enter the timing of this note, you press the time mode button to activate it, and then use the note, tie, and rest button to write the rhythm. So note, tie to make it longer, note, 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 a note, note, I'll put a rest, a note, note, make it longer, note, 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 a rest, and note. Another way to write the rhythm in this mode is by recording it on the fly. To do that, you press the function button so you're neither in pitch mode or time mode, press play, then clear pattern to hear the metronome, and then use the tab button to play the rhythm you want. And that's it for the original mode, so let's switch to the step mode. When you're set in step recording mode, press the pitch button to start recording. Then, in the same way than in the original mode, you can press one note at a time, and they will be recorded one after the other into the pattern. And then you can use the value knob to navigate between steps. Here you can still play higher and lower octaves with the up and down buttons, and you can still put accents and slides with the accent and slide buttons, and you can use them to modify notes already in your sequence. At the end of this one, at the end of this one. But here you are entering the pitch and the rhythm at the same time. The logic is not first a sequence of notes and then we'll see in which rhythm they play. It's more, what do I want on each step? Steps are like a rigid grid and I decide what I put in each of its boxes. And you can still use ties, rests and normal notes, but they work a little bit differently. You have to hold the time button and do note, tie or rest to set the recorded note to one of those. Time knob and rest. Time knob and tie. I don't like the first one. Another option, instead of writing your patterns in one of those ways, is to write your pattern in your DAW and controlling the TB-03 directly with your computer. That's actually how I prefer to use it. Just connect a USB lead from here to your computer or a MIDI cable from your computer to the MIDI in. Then function button plus value knob to find the sync setting. And here you can choose if you want the TB-03 to be synchronized through USB or through MIDI, or select internal if you don't want it to be synchronized at all. Other settings you have, with the CH setting you can use the MIDI channel that will be used, and with the through settings you can activate or deactivate the MIDI through. So the MIDI that comes in is also sent out. Okay, so now we saw a lot of things. We know how to play with the sound of the instrument, we know how to chain patterns and different ways to write them. But say you have a live gig to play and you have different songs with different TB parts in them. Well, the track mode is here for that. The track mode allows you to chain patterns while setting how many bars each pattern will be played. So to write a track, you turn the mode knob to track write and select a track among the 7 available with this knob. The pattern group you can use for a track is the one selected with this track knob. So tracks 1 and 2 can only use patterns from group 1, for example, and track 3 and 4 can only use patterns from the group 2. Now, to write a track, press bar reset to go back to measure 1, check what is in measure 1 by pressing play, and use the buttons A, B and 1 to 8 to select the pattern you want for this measure 1. Then press next and you are now on measure 2, so rinse and repeat. So for now I've selected 4 bars of the first pattern and then 4 bars of the second one. Once you've selected a pattern for the last measure, you can press the DC button to add a da capo. If you do so, when this last bar is played, it will loop back to measure 1. Then you can always go back to change any measure. For that, you turn the value knob to select the bar you want, or you can hold function and input the number of the measure you want to access, from 1 to 8, 9, 0, 100 and 200. So if you'd like to go to measure 16, you could go function 1, 6. You can also add a dal segno, and then when you press the dal segno button during playback, the playback jumps to the bar that is set as dal segno. Say I want a dal segno on measure 3, dal segno is here, okay? If I do play, and I play this pattern, so now it's playing, but if I press DS, it goes back to bar 3. You can delete a measure by doing function plus delete, or you can insert a new one by doing function and insert. The new measure will be inserted before the measure you're on. So if you are on bar 4 and you do insert, the measure you were on will become the measure 5 and the measure 4 will be the new one you just created. So you can modify it right away. And then press the right button before pressing run stop to save the changes. From there, everything is ready. We saw pretty much everything on this machine. And to play the track we just made, you can turn the mod knob to track play. Then it's ready to play. So now is the time to talk briefly about some pros and cons. In the pro side, the sound is obviously a good thing. It has the sound I'm looking for an acid synth, and having built-in effects is a really good addition. The way it's built seems very robust, and the TB has this good way of having a few knobs that are very expressive, so it's very easy and fun to perform with. In the cons, some may not agree with me, but I find the way of creating sequences very tedious, and to me it is not the most fun part. It's funny because they added a whole new mode to write patterns, and I still don't find it amazing. I actually prefer the original mode, as you can tap rhythms on the fly, and that can be cool to make it groove. Though controlling it through MIDI is fun. I prefer to control it with my DAW, so I can write my patterns directly the way I'm used to, and then I can have all the fun playing with it, turning all the knobs to change the tone. And so I guess that would be all for today, so I would be curious to know what you think about the TB-03, if you think that's a good clone, which one is your favorite, or if you think it's a good synth in general. If you're still here, thank you very much for watching. Huge thanks to my Patreons who are supporting the channel. If you want to join them, there is a link in the description. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share. That's all the best way to help the channel. In the meantime, I wish you a great day or a great evening. Take care, and I'll see you next time.